What if I told you the biggest limit on your business isn't your strategy, your skills, or even your resources, but instead is your confidence? And what if I also told you you don't need more confidence to succeed? You already have plenty, you're just not using it the right way. Welcome to this full training session. By the end, you'll have the tools to think with clarity, make confident decisions, and run your business with far less stress. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to shift your confidence so you can get better results in your business without trying to feel more confident. I've spent over 25 years studying confidence, leadership, and decision-making. I've written a few books on the subject, and after coaching hundreds of entrepreneurs to overcome self-doubt and unlock their potential, I've created a framework that you can use too. Today, I'll take you through the Confidence-Driven Business Framework, which is a system that helps you to create a clear business vision that excites you, easily make better decisions with less stress, get more done without overworking, take action with feelings of clarity and confidence that you're doing the right thing. So what would your business be like if you had all of that in place? This isn't a video about productivity hacks, quick fixes, or faking it till you make it. We're going far deeper than all of that, and I'll give you a simple yet powerful system for being better in business. Here's what you'll learn today. Why confidence is not what you think, and yet is 100% what you think. I'll show you how your business acts as a mirror and how you can use it for personal growth. Next, I'll introduce you to the plot choice, a method to recognize limiting thought patterns and make better choices. We'll then combine the mirror and the plot choice in a process called the CLEAR framework, a system for making confident decisions daily. We'll start rewiring your confidence for business growth by doing an exercise to shift a specific negative belief you have about yourself or about your business. From this newfound clarity, you'll be in a better place to start developing your confidence compass. This is a tool for developing a powerful vision and staying on course. And finally, I'll show you how you can use everything you've learned to become an undercover confidence booster. It's a technique and an approach that will improve your communication, your sales, and leadership skills. So by the end of this session, you'll be more aware of how you've been getting in your own way and slowing your business growth down. And you'll understand how to use your current levels of confidence so they work for you rather than against you. You'll learn some new and practical tools that you can apply immediately to your business and to your life. So if you're ready to shift your thinking, take back control, create clarity, and start making real progress, you're in the right place. We're going to cover a lot in this training, and you'll probably want to come back and revisit some sections. And it's getting a little bit bright for me to keep filming outside, so whilst I walk home, why don't you take a second to save this video now so you can revisit key sections. Or you can even download it so you can keep learning even when you're offline. Okay? Let's go. So, while you're downloading the video, let me introduce what we'll be covering in a bit more detail. So this session is all about tapping into your fullest potential by using confidence to accelerate your business growth. What I've discovered is that confidence acts as either a brake or an accelerator in business. So no matter how many strategies you implement or what products you offer or how many productivity hacks you try, if confidence is holding you back, none of those tools will make a real difference. You're probably familiar with the idea that your thoughts shape your beliefs, which shape your words, which shape your character, which shape your actions, ultimately leading to the results that you get in life. So that means if we only focus on implementing new systems or strategies or techniques at the level of action, nothing will change. We're still feeding those actions with faulty inputs. So to create real change, we have to go upstream to the root of our thinking and our beliefs, because that's what's driving the behaviors that shape our results. And that's exactly what we'll be doing today. One of the key ideas I want to introduce is that your business is a powerful tool for personal growth. It constantly reflects back to you what needs to be addressed. This is what I mean by the confidence-driven business framework. When we start to notice what our business is telling us about our thinking patterns and then using that information to change our beliefs and shift our confidence, that shows up as business improvements, growth, and profits. So in the next section, we're going to do some actionable exercises to help shift limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. So I highly recommend grabbing a pen and downloading the guidebook. It's completely free and you don't even need to enter your email. The link is in the description, so go ahead and download that now. You can use it to structure your thinking and work through the exercises as we go. So by the end of this next section, you'll have a clear understanding of how confidence might be limiting you, and more importantly, how to unlock it for your success. So what is confidence? One of the key things we need to get clear on is the common misconception that confidence is about public speaking or being outgoing or having a charismatic personality. And while these can be great and very useful qualities, they're not what confidence is fundamentally about. You can be quietly confident. You can have a certainty and a self-belief without shouting about it to the rest of the world. You can also appear confident and still do things like public speaking and socializing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you feel confident on the inside. True confidence isn't about the external behavior. It's about the thoughts and the beliefs that shape your sense of certainty in your own abilities and the actions that you take. So when I talk about a lack of confidence, I'm referring to the thoughts and beliefs that erode your ability to trust yourself, to believe in your capacity to make things happen, or to trust in the strategies and decisions that could benefit your business. So what's the real definition of confidence? Confidence is about having a deep sense of certainty that when you take action, it will lead to the results you want. But here's where it gets interesting, because confidence isn't always helpful. For example, some people are extremely confident in their own skills, and because of that, they feel the need to do everything in their business themselves. So whether they're doing it well or not, their confidence in their abilities drives them to take on all the tasks, which ultimately limits their growth. On the other hand, someone who has confidence that others can get the job done just as well or even better will be able to delegate, freeing up their time to focus on the bigger picture. In this case, confidence in one's own abilities can actually become a barrier to business growth. But here's the thing, every belief has a flip side. So if you were to tell someone who thought that, doing everything themselves was the best way, if you were to say to them, look, you're doing everything yourself and it's limiting your business, why don't you delegate some of this? Their response would probably be something like, I've hired people in the past and it didn't work out. They don't do things as well as I do them. Or, training someone to do it the way that I do takes so much time, I'm better off just doing it myself. In other words, they have a high level of confidence that delegation won't work. Their certainty isn't just in their own abilities, it's also in their belief that others won't meet their standards. And this creates a self-reinforcing loop that keeps them stuck. So whether you consider yourself a confident person or not, there are things in your business that you are already confident about. And the key is identifying whether that confidence is actually helping you to achieve the best possible results. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. We're going to use what I call the confidence mirror, which is a tool that allows you to reflect on your business and uncover the hidden beliefs that are either driving your success or holding you back. So let's take this idea even further. Most people can relate to the fact that a business's logo and branding are a reflection of its owner. It's unlikely that a business owner would just ask someone to create a logo without influencing the process with their own thoughts, beliefs, qualities, or preferences. And so the colors, the styling, and the overall look and feel of a business tends to mirror the person behind it. But here's the thing, this is just a visual expression. But in reality, everything within your business is a reflection of who you are. The staff you hire reflect your choices. The design of your website reflects your priorities and your approach. The level of customer service reflects your values, and the way that you handle products or services reflects your beliefs about quality and about value. So your business acts as a mirror, showing you how your thoughts, your words, your beliefs all manifest in real-world results. Now let's take this even deeper. Imagine a business owner who believes their market is too saturated. There are just simply too many competitors. And with that belief, their primary strategy may be to lower prices to attract more customers. And what's going to happen when they do that? Well, lower prices are going to mean lower profits. Lower profits means less money to invest in improving the business. And a lack of investment leads to a lower quality customer experience. And a poor customer experience results in customers leaving for competitors. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. The belief that the market is saturated drives actions that reinforce that belief, proving to the business owner that their assumptions were correct. Now, let's contrast that with a different belief. Imagine another business owner in the exact same market running the exact same type of business, but they believe their offer is unique. They believe the market needs something fresh and that differentiation is the key to success. So what happens then? Well, they're going to focus on bold, creative marketing that highlights what makes them different, and their branding and their message is going to stand out from the competitors, which is going to attract higher value clients who aren't just looking for the cheapest option. And with the higher value clients, they have higher profit margins, and more profit allows them to reinvest in a premium customer experience, and a better customer experience builds loyalty and word-of-mouth referrals. So this also becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, but in a way that drives business growth instead of limiting it. For a moment, I want you to take a step back and ask yourself, what is your business reflecting about your confidence right now? What beliefs do you hold about your business or about your market or even about yourself that may be impacting your business? And are those beliefs reinforcing growth, or are they holding you back? You see, your business is already showing you the answers. You just have to know where and how to look. So I want to introduce you to mental movies that shape your confidence. After thousands of conversations with people from all walks of life, entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, board members, one pattern is very clear. We all create mental movies or soundtracks in our minds when making decisions. These mental movies do one of two things. They generate the confidence to take action, or they generate the confidence not to hesitate or hold back instead. And these movies tend to fall into two main categories. There's the obstacle plot and the opportunity plot. And the obstacle plot, we all have a tendency to believe that we're a bit psychic and that we can predict what's going to happen before we do something. If our inner premonition leans toward fear or towards risk, then we're more likely to project a movie that's full of worst case scenarios of things going wrong, of us doubting ourselves and causing us to hesitate and not take action. We'll ask ourselves questions like, what if this doesn't work? Or what if I fail? Or what will people think? And these kind of stories create blockages and obstacles in the way, and they lead us to avoid taking action to protect ourselves from the imagined pain of everything going wrong. Now, the other type of movie is what I call the opportunity plot. And this is the movie of possibility, excitement, and progress. It's a movie where you can see all of the potential success that will come from taking an action. and you kind of experience in advance the positive emotions of winning in this way. And when you start to experience that, it can lead to feelings of optimism and motivation and momentum. And you ask yourself questions like, won't this be great when this happens? I'll be able to do this. What else will become possible when we've done this and got this in place? And so by playing that different movie, paying attention to the possibility rather than the obstacles, it generates feelings that are far more likely to lead to the kinds of actions that are going to help your business to grow. The moment that we become aware of which movie we're projecting, we gain a power. And that power is that we can choose which reel to watch. We can choose to shift from fear to excitement or from doubt to clear direction. So knowing which movie we're running and choosing the right internal movie helps us to feel what we need to feel in order to act and to lead ourselves and our business more effectively. But it's not all about just being in that opportunity plot all of the time. Balance is key to this. There is some value in paying attention to the potential risks. But what we want to do is make sure that we don't spend all of our time there. So a kind of a balance of 80-20, spend maximum of 20% of your time considering the risks, the possible downsides, and how to mitigate them, and then spend the rest of your time running that movie of all of the opportunities and all of the reasons why it is going to work out, because that movie is a fuel for your day-to-day actions. So now it's time to do the plot choice exercise. If you turn to the page in your guidebook, you'll find 2 columns. What I want you to do is think about something in your business that either you need to make a decision on, or that you should be doing it, but you haven't been doing it. And what I want you to do is think about doing that and notice the obstacle plot that you have been playing or that plays in your mind when you think about taking that action or think about that part of your business. And I want you to very quickly just capture all of the thoughts, the feelings, the things that you say about this when you think about taking action on it. So once you've done that, I want you to wipe that slate clean and think of the same thing, but this time I want you to shift your focus to the opportunity plot. And I want you to imagine all of the amazing things that will happen, all of the positive things that will happen as a result of getting this thing solved. So again, pause the video, spend some time really imagining everything going exactly according to plan, everything working out exactly the way that you want it to, and what results lead from taking this action. So when you've done that and you have those 2 lists there, I just want you to take a little kind of temperature check with yourself and notice how one list makes you feel and how your feelings change when you pay attention to the other list. When you pay attention to the obstacle plot, how does that make you feel in comparison with when you focus on the opportunity plot? Now, pretty much everyone I've ever asked this question of or done this exercise with always tells me that it feels much better when you focus on the opportunity plot. And when you feel much better, what happens in terms of the likelihood of you taking the action? Often, when we force ourselves to pay attention to the opportunity plot, we notice new things that we could be doing or new ways to get the results that we want. And we unlock an energy and an excitement for moving this forward. And so that's exactly what we want to do. We want to run our brain in the way that is going to fuel the actions that are going to transform our business and get us those results that we want. So let's walk through a quick process that you can use whenever you face a challenge, a decision, or you become aware of a disempowering belief in your business. It's called the CLEAR process, and it stands for C is capture the problem, L is look at the flip side. E is explore the possibilities. A is to align your actions. And R is to reflect and refine. So we start by identifying the belief or the thought that's holding you back. You'll usually notice this when you're about to make a decision and then you notice an obstacle plot is playing in your mind, or you hear yourself saying something limiting, either in your head or out loud to other people. You might say something like, oh, why does marketing never work for me? What we want to do to start with, if the thing that we notice is in the form of a question, is to turn it into a clear statement. So the question, why does marketing never work for me, becomes marketing doesn't work for me. So once we've captured what the issue is, we want to look at the flip side. And here we're going to identify the polar opposite of your limiting belief. It doesn't need to feel true or even be true at this point in time. We just want to acknowledge what the opposite looks like, what the opposite of what we've been saying is reality. We want to see what the flip side of that is. So if we take that belief, marketing doesn't work for me, and we flip that to its opposite, we'd get something like, marketing always works for me. And we've created its polar opposite. So we have two possible realities. So we've moved from being stuck in just one belief to a position where we can see a whole spectrum of possibilities. And this takes us to step 3, which is where we explore those possibilities. We start by simply asking about the polar opposite belief, is there any truth to this? Because sometimes we can find that the thing that we thought was correct, when we say the opposite thing, we can actually see that there's a lot that's correct or true about that as well. And as we start to ask that question, it starts to get us to lose our kind of commitment to the previous belief that wasn't helpful. And what we want to do is look for a new belief that may be at that polar opposite, but maybe somewhere between the two. And we want it to be a belief that feels empowering and feels true and correct to us. So we might come to a belief that something like, marketing always teaches me something useful for improving my business. We want to keep exploring until we find one that feels right and inspires us to feel good about taking action, which is the next step, which is where we align your actions. So we want to look at that belief and ask ourselves, what action would I take if that belief was true? So if we use this example of, marketing never works for me, that's not going to inspire you to take actions in the whole realm of marketing. If we look at the flip side and, marketing always works for me, that opens up new possibilities. And then if we settle on a belief like marketing always teaches me something that helps me to improve my business, that opens new possibilities for the kind of actions that we take. So ask yourself the question, what action would I take if I believed this was true? If I felt that marketing teaches me, then there's a whole range of things that I might do to learn more about my business. I might hire a Facebook ads expert simply because it's something I haven't done before, but I want to learn whether it will work for my business. So once we've identified the kind of actions that we could take if we believe this, we want to pick one and we want to schedule that in so that either today or tomorrow we take some kind of action that sets momentum in that direction where we can start to reinforce that belief. So this takes us to step 5, because as you think about or as you take a new action, what can happen is that new limiting beliefs may surface, ones that you weren't aware of before because you were stuck in that old belief. Marketing doesn't work, so you don't take action in that area. So these new disempowering beliefs don't get to surface. But when you shift that and start to take action in a direction, you might find that hidden beliefs come up that were subconsciously also preventing you from moving forward. And when those rise to the surface, all we have to do is just run the clear process again on them. So we identify and capture what it is that has come up and surfaced for us. We look at the flip side. We explore the possibilities on that spectrum between them. And we step into a new belief and look at the actions that might come from that new belief and move forward. And we keep doing this until we've cleared out all of those hidden beliefs that are keeping our business at the level that we've been stuck at, wherever that is. So, for example, when you start to take action on pursuing Facebook ads, a new idea might come up that, I've heard that Facebook ads are just a waste of money. So we flip it and we find that Facebook ads are an incredible investment. And then we look for a new empowering belief somewhere in the middle. So, with the right Facebook ads expert, they can be a really powerful tool for growth. And that might lead us to taking a different action, like maybe having a chat with a few people, asking for recommendations on good Facebook ads experts. But this isn't necessarily something that we would have been doing had we been holding the belief that marketing doesn't work. So the key takeaway from this section is that the business challenges that you experience are actually opportunities for self-development. If you are able to use every decision, every hesitation, or every moment of doubt to reveal a belief that you're holding that can then be upgraded, you will be using your business as a mirror and starting to develop a confidence-driven business. And when you start to use this clear process as a daily tool to rewire one belief at a time, which can be done pretty quickly, you'll start to build your confidence and your momentum in the right things, the things that are going to push your business forward and are going to get you where it is that you want to go. So make sure you do this exercise now. You can go into the guidebook. There's a page that will walk you through how to do this and find out for yourself the difference that this makes. Now that we've got this understanding of how your business acts as a mirror and how you can use the clear process to transform those unconscious beliefs that come up, we can start to look at what's called the confidence compass. And this is a tool that I've developed that helps business owners to create a vision that also feels fully aligned and possible for them to achieve. You can create this confidence compass, create a long-term vision, 5 years, a year, but you can also use it for kind of more medium term, like a quarter or a month. And also is very useful for short-term planning, on a weekly basis or even daily. And you can actually use it whenever you set a goal or whenever you start a new project. So the confidence compass helps you to create a vision that both inspires you and energizes you and feels very doable, very possible for you. And as you go through it, it will surface beliefs that could block you from achieving it, and it helps you to reframe those beliefs so that they work for you. So that as you use the compass, it builds an alignment between your long-term clarity and your daily action, what you actually do on a daily basis, feeling good and knowing that it's taking you closer to that long-term vision. We all know that just taking action on a daily basis is not enough. We can work really hard for months and years and then look up and find that we haven't got to where we wanted to go. So daily action isn't enough. You need clarity of direction. And using this tool, we can get that clarity of direction and tie it to our daily actions so that we are always on track, are able to kind of get a reading on where you are and what the challenges are for you on a personal basis that is preventing you from getting to that goal. And also, it might help you to adapt that vision as you get more clarity on the best way forward. So how does it work? Well, you have some templates in the guidebook, so take a look at those now. This is how we create a confidence compass. So if you have an A4 piece of paper like this, what we're going to do is just draw 2 diagonal lines from corner to corner and corner to corner to create 4 sections on that paper. And we're going to start by going to the top of the paper. This is your North Star. So this is the direction that you want to head in. So this is the vision or the goal that you want to achieve. And in here, you're just going to write out what that is, whatever it is. Yeah. So once you've done that, I want you to think about it and notice if you have any beliefs that are not particularly helpful or are disempowering. So we're going to go over to the west side on the left of the paper, and this is the negatives. And so in here, I want you to write down any things that you kind of say to yourself when you think about going for this goal or achieving this vision, anything that is disempowering or limiting or prevents you from feeling super confident about your ability to achieve this vision or this goal. And once you've done that, we'll head over to the east, which is where the sun rises. And here we want to put the polar opposite of these disempowering beliefs. So whatever they are, we want to flip them to the exact reverse and write in here the opposite of each of the ones that we've noted that are disempowering. Once we've done that, what we've done is we've opened up that kind of range of possible beliefs from the negative ones that pop up for you to the polar opposite. And then we're going to work with the gap in between. Now, it might be the polar opposite has some truth or is true, and you can use them, or you might have to refine them to make them a more empowering belief that is tailored to the vision and the goal that you want to achieve. And we're going to head south and write these in here. And it might be that you need several, or it might be that you can come up with one empowering belief that wipes out all the other disempowering beliefs. And it's a belief that is going to help you to move towards that North Star, that vision, that goal, the thing that you want to achieve. It's like the fuel and the support that is going to make it almost guaranteed that you're going to do it. So if we take a really quick example, let's say that the vision or the goal was to record a long form YouTube video, and you've never done that before. Now, you've got that goal, and immediately when you think about doing that, maybe you have some thoughts about that. Maybe you think, I can't present to camera, or what could I say that would be of any interest to anyone else? So let's turn that into one statement. For example, I got nothing to say that would be of any interest to anybody. So that it might be a disempowering belief. You pop that in there. And if we flip that to the other side, the polar opposite of that would be, I have got loads of really interesting things that millions of people are going to be interested in watching. So we've got that disempowering and the opposite. And obviously, well, not obviously, maybe there are millions of people out there that would be interested in all of the things that you've got to say or that I've got to say. But let's craft something that is going to be supportive of moving towards that goal of creating a long form YouTube video. So something like, I've got enough things to say that at least one person is going to get value from and is going to make a positive difference to their life. Now, that is a belief that there's definite truth to it. You can believe it. And moving from a place of, I've got enough to say that one person is going to benefit from this, is going to help to fuel you in achieving the vision or the goal. Whereas if you were focused on one of the other beliefs, like, I've got nothing to say that's going to be of any interest to someone, it's going to make it very difficult to record a YouTube video and achieve that vision or goal. Now, obviously, that's just one example using where we are right now, but you tailor this compass to what it is that you want to achieve. You become aware of the thoughts that are not fueling you and pushing you and pulling you towards that vision or that goal. And use this compass to transform them into a belief that you can say to yourself, you can read on a daily basis, or you can refer to when you are working towards that specific goal, that fuels you and makes it easy and almost guarantees that you're going to achieve the goal. So if you'd like an even easier way of doing this, I've created an AI version of myself so you can have a conversation with a virtual me. And to get access to that, there's a link in the description. I'll need your email in order to give you access. And then you'll be able to have that conversation with the AI. It will take you through the clear process and will help you to create a confidence compass. So you can use that if there's a decision or there's a goal that you want to work towards, or if there's some kind of negative belief that you want to work on. And you can do that, and you can set up your yearly confidence compass, quarterly ones, monthly ones, weekly ones, and even your daily confidence compass. You can just start your day with a quick chat with the tool. And I'll also develop another one that works as a kind of a morning journal and an evening review as well. So like I say, if you want access to that, click the link in the description. And you'll be able to have those conversations whenever you want it. And obviously, if you want to have a conversation with the real version of me, then you can go to my website and we can schedule a call to do that as well. This video is a bit of a departure from how I usually work and is much more kind of training rather than coaching. And, different people have different ideas about what coaching is, but it certainly isn't about me sitting in a chair and nodding wisely while you talk at me. And it's definitely not me giving you a 5-step plan to fix your life. I'm not qualified to advise you on what to do with your life. But a real coaching conversation is more like stepping into a hall of magic mirrors that show you how you're creating the very reality that you might feel stuck in. What I do is I listen for all those kind of weird and wonderful ways that your brain has convinced you that this is just how things are and who I am. And then lovingly, I poke holes in that story so that you can find a way out and discover that maybe the truth that you've been living by is just a very convincing opinion that you've held. So the questions that I ask will help you to find new answers, and they'll pull you into a new space where your old rules stop making sense and something fresh starts to appear, so that suddenly things feel possible again. It's not because I've given you a tip or a trick, but because something inside them has shifted. And that's why these conversations feel different. They shift things that reading books or watching videos can't. So if you're curious about what might open up when you have the right kind of conversation, I invite you to get in touch and discover what's possible. And if you'd like to put the ideas from this video into practice, well, I'm creating a 30-day challenge, and this will be a chance to implement all the tools that I've talked about in this video, get regular videos, updates, and support from me, and be part of a community that's all doing it together. So check out the video description. I'll add a link there so that you can express an interest or sign up, and I'll make sure you get early access. You can use this on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis to course correct and make sure that you're on track and to reignite your motivation and that feeling that you can do this. So one of the great things about being a sentient human being with self-consciousness and awareness, which I hope you do have, is that you can use tools like this to reframe fear-based thinking into confidence-driven beliefs, so you can build a confidence-driven business. And it helps you to shift from those obstacle plot stories and into the opportunity plot stories that are going to help you get where you want to go, but are also going to make the journey there so much more pleasurable. Now, let me take you on a little side adventure here so that we can understand this concept a bit better, and just bear with me as we do this. Let me ask you, is Harry Potter real? So unless you've been living under a stone for the past couple of decades, you probably know who he is. You're probably aware of what he looks like, have seen, heard about, or even read the books or watched the movies. You will have seen him on t-shirts or lunchboxes or any number of other products. And if you've got kids or nephews or nieces, you'll likely have heard them talk about him. And you're probably aware that J.K. Rowling rose from relative obscurity to become a globally renowned author and billionaire primarily because of Harry. And at the current count, he's generated substantial revenue across various mediums, totaling over $50 billion. So in our culture, Harry Potter, Hogwarts, Quidditch, and the world he inhabits is very much real in the minds of hundreds of millions of people. He is definitely real in that sense. However, he does not exist. None of it does. Yet people will travel abroad to visit Harry Potter World and will spend their hard-earned money in exchange for a piece of the fantasy. He's not real, but he compels people to take very real action in the world. And that is the power of our mind and why it is a crucial skill as a business owner to harness our imagination and direct it in ways that create a reality that others will buy into, whether that be our customers, our team, and most importantly, ourselves. If a limiting belief about your business is real to you, it will limit you. So you owe it to yourself to explore what these limiting beliefs might be, and then choose beliefs that can be the foundation of the business success that you're aiming for. So as we come back to the main path and we consider your original belief, its opposite, and the full spectrum of possibilities in between, let's start shifting our mindset towards solutions and opportunities. As you look at the two beliefs, the original and its opposite, ask yourself, which belief feels better? Which one gives me more energy? Which one puts me in charge? So by creating these two opposing beliefs, what you've done is you've expanded your perspective. Instead of being stuck with just, for example, I've got too much to do, you now have a spectrum of possibilities that lay between I've got too much to do and I don't have enough to do. And somewhere in that spectrum, you can craft a belief that's more empowering and helpful. So take a moment now, pause the video, get your guidebook and create your own confidence compass. Pick a time frame that you want to create a vision for, or a project that matters to you at the moment, and go through that process and let it surface the beliefs that are holding you back, and then use it to move forward. Make sure that you pick an action that you're going to do straight away to get that momentum going. At first, we can do this as an exercise, but we want to turn this into a habit and eventually into just who we are and how we think. So having done the exercise once, you can probably see how the more regularly you do it, the more you will surface and reframe those beliefs that are unhelpful to you. So the best way of doing this is to create a daily journal practice. When we start to do it on a daily basis, it starts to rewire how you think. The more familiar you get with the process, the more aware you become of when you're holding yourself back with one of these disempowering beliefs, the quicker you can transform this into more empowering, more powerful belief that helps you and moves you forward quicker in your business. The goal is to embed this process into our mindset so it just becomes how you naturally operate. By starting your day with a daily journal, it ensures that you are aligning your goals with your longer term vision, but also clearing out any limiting beliefs that might block you as you think about taking action, or as you actually try to start taking action, or if you put it off. Clients have told me, and in my own practice, I've found that when I do a daily compass, my days are so much more productive. When I started to establish this as a habit, it became apparent to me how much drag there was on my productivity simply because there were disempowering beliefs, either consciously or unconsciously, that were slowing me down, that were preventing me from taking action. What we want to do is set 5 to 10 minutes in the morning where we think of 1 to 2 things that would make the day a success. And then we use the confidence compass to write them down as our North Star, notice any limiting beliefs that come up, figure out what the opposite belief of that is, and then decide on an empowering belief that we're going to use to fuel us forward. And then we ask ourselves, what would I have to do to fully step into this belief? Once you've done that, choose a small action that aligns with the belief. And then in the evening, we just take 5 to 10 minutes to review our progress. You can just ask yourself questions like, what did I do well today? What did I learn? How did holding this new, more empowering belief help me to take action? And how did it shift my overall mindset or my results during the day? The more you do this, the more you'll start to spot patterns in your thinking, and the more you'll become aware of beliefs that are no longer true for you, beliefs that maybe you held at one time, but because of the experience you're having of taking on new, more empowering beliefs and using those to support you as you go through your days, the more evidence you're building up that these new, more empowering beliefs are actually more true than the old disempowering beliefs that used to get in your way. And as you spot these patterns and you notice yourself shifting what you believe and how you can consciously do that, you start to track your own evolution and growth as a business owner. The reason this works is that it eliminates all of the hidden resistance that has been slowing you down in your business, and it builds proof that the new empowering beliefs that you're choosing are actually valid, are actually helpful, and they become more true the more that you believe them and act from them. And over time, this reinforces a new identity for you that is aligned with growth, with clarity, and with confidence. And what it does is it strengthens something which is called self-efficacy. Now, self-efficacy is a psychological term where they observed that most successful people are the people who believe in their ability to get the result that they want. So it makes sense, really, when you think about it, that, people who don't believe that they're going to be able to achieve something are less likely to achieve it. But the people who have self-efficacy, which is a belief in their ability to achieve the result that they want to, because they believe that about themselves, the way that they act, their attitude, means it puts them in a much better place and leads to a far higher likelihood of them achieving that result. And so self-efficacy is a marker of whether you're likely to be successful. So we want to develop our self-efficacy, and we want to make believing in ourselves a strategic choice for our business. Over time, this will change from just being a mindset tool that you have to get out of the box and use as and when needed, to just becoming who you are and how you think. And you'll start living and leading from a place of clarity and confidence by default. It will become your default, is that when you show up with an attitude of, I can do this. And whatever challenges come along in your business, straight away, you will be in that place that's confidence driven, that where you know that you can handle it, you can solve it, you can move beyond it, you can get the result that you want. So why does this work? Well, this daily habit does more than just shift your thoughts. It trains your brain to consistently align with empowering beliefs. The daily journaling that I've outlined is designed so that you strengthen your self-efficacy, your belief that you can do what needs to be done to reach your business goals and your life goals. The specific structure of this journaling increases your motivation, your resilience, and your performance. And as you start to experience the power of choosing your beliefs to align with who you want to be and the results that you want to get, then these small mindset shifts compound over time, transforming how you see yourself and how you show up in your business. So in time, this will shift from being habits that you're training into yourself to becoming just who you are. Your ability to recognize unhelpful thoughts and transform them into supportive, empowering thoughts becomes a skill that you're adept at and can quickly implement throughout your day. Daily practice with these tools isn't just about solving today's challenges. It's about becoming the person who naturally handles challenges with confidence and clarity. You're not just building habits, you're building a new version of yourself. You know, if you've ever met anyone who has this level of control over their mind, I'm sure that you sense their power. And I don't mean power over others, but a kind of a personal power to be able to shape and mold their own experience of life. And it's a very attractive quality. And, you know, I don't really need to ask you, who would you prefer to spend time with or do business with? Someone who always complains or doubts themselves and expects things to go horribly wrong, or someone who can acknowledge both the potential downside and the upside? Someone who is mindful of both of those, but chooses to direct themselves towards the positive. And people like this become role models for the rest of us, and they can affect us with their clear thinking and communication. In the beginning, everything I've covered with you today is a process that you use on yourself. But as you become more accomplished, you can become an undercover confidence booster. So this is someone who's able to shift other people's clarity and confidence just conversationally and seamlessly, often without others even realizing what you're doing. You know, everyone you meet limits their life in some way based on the thoughts that they think and the beliefs that they hold. And these beliefs shape their decisions, their actions, and ultimately their results and experience. Most people aren't even aware of the mental rules that they're following. But when you develop the ability to listen for those beliefs, you unlock an incredible opportunity, not to manipulate other people, but to expand their thinking and help them make better choices. Therefore, this skill isn't just for your benefit. It's a tool to uplift others while strengthening your leadership and influence abilities. When using the CLEAR framework to be an undercover confidence booster for others, we follow the same steps. C, we capture the problem. So pay close attention to the language that people use when they talk about their abilities, their challenges, or decisions. And we want to notice that any limiting beliefs they might be expressing. So limiting beliefs often reveal themselves as absolutes or excuses or fixed mindsets. For example, an absolute would be something like, I can't, or it's always this way, or it's impossible. Excuses are things like, I just don't have time, or that's not really my skill set. And a fixed mindset is going to be something like, I've tried that before and it doesn't work. Fixed mindset is when a person believes that it's just the way it is, or just the way I am. And it's the opposite of a growth mindset, which believes that there's always something that can be done to change a situation or to grow as a person. So, for example, a team member might say something like, I'm not good at presenting, so, I'd rather not handle that client demo. So as you know, the next step is to look at the flip side. So once you notice a limiting belief, just consider in your mind what the opposite of that might be. So, I'm not good at presenting might be, I am good at presenting. And from considering that, you might think of a question, what if actually you were brilliant at presenting, but you just haven't practiced it enough? Now, obviously, you don't need to state this outright just yet. Just simply hold that possibility in your mind as you kind of guide the conversation towards a new, more empowering perspective for this person. So the next step is to explore the possibilities. So rather than directly challenging their belief, you might invite them to consider a different perspective through questions or stories and examples. So, you could say, I understand how you feel. Many people think they're not good at presenting. And I was like this when I first started doing these demos. But with practice, they often surprise themselves at how good they can get. And I'm just wondering, what would it look like if you were to practice with me before the demo? What do you think would happen if we just focus on a small part of the presentation that you do feel comfortable with? And this approach allows them to see new options without feeling forced to change their stance. The next step is to align your actions. And when making a change of any sort, motivation is key. So if when you ask questions or offer suggestions and they're met with resistance, you might want to check whether they would actually want the result that you're steering them towards. For example, you might say something like, let's just say that you could find a way to present. In what ways would that be good for you? How would that benefit you? And this kind of question asks them to pay attention to the opportunity plot rather than the obstacle plot that's been getting in their way. Once they've considered the opportunities, you can check with them. If we could find a way to build your skills and your confidence, would you like to be able to do that and to have all of those benefits? So if growing in this way is something that they do want, then you can find ways to support them, to take a small, manageable step or steps towards this more empowering belief. And you can encourage them to take an action that aligns with their potential. Something like, practicing a single section of the presentation, or running through a demo in a low stakes setting, or focusing on explaining just one part of the presentation with confidence. Each action should build momentum towards shifting their mindset. So as they do these things, as they have more experiences, they build up a reference set that convinces them that actually I'm getting better at this. And maybe if I practice more and more, I would become more confident and I have the potential to actually be good at presenting. So the last step is to reflect and refine. And when you're working with another person, the way that you do this is to acknowledge their progress and reinforce their confidence. When they take a step forward, even a small one, it's important that you recognize that, because they might not notice it, or they might not frame it in a way that has an impact on them. But if you said something like, you did a great job explaining that feature in our practice session, I can see how much thought you put into this and how much preparation. And I think that the client would really notice that too and be quite impressed. So by reflecting on their progress and refining their approach, they will start to build confidence in their ability to grow. So you can also ask them things like, what went well? And what would you do different next time? These kinds of questions get them to reflect on the positives about what they did, reinforcing those, but also get them to kind of look ahead to the future and think, when I do this again, I do it differently in these ways. And if I did it differently in these ways, I'd probably do a better job. And I feel confident that I could make those little shifts to make it even better. So your role as an undercover confidence booster is to direct their thinking towards the possibilities and the opportunity plot for what they're capable of. So developing this skill is invaluable because it allows you to lead with empathy for others and to provide insights. By helping others to shift their perspective, you build trust with them and you inspire positive action and create deeper connections. So whether you're leading a team or closing a sale or simply having a conversation with someone, this tool enhances your ability to influence and to motivate. And when you approach conversations with this kind of mindset, you're not just speaking to the person who's in front of you, you're speaking to that potential. And as you help others to grow, you reinforce your own confidence and your leadership in the process. So can you see how this might benefit you as you get better and better at having these kinds of conversations? Is that something that you'd like? Would that bring you some benefits? Great. So now, as we wrap up this training, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you. You've just spent the last hour investing in yourself and your future, and that's no small feat. Because just by being here, you've already proven that you're committed to growth, to clarity, and to building a life and business that reflects your highest potential. And that's no small thing. Think about how far you've already come. You've explored the deep connection between your thoughts and your results. You've learned how to use your business as a mirror for self-awareness and discovered practical frameworks like the clear process and the confidence compass, tools that don't just shift how you think, but transform who you are. And here's the best part. Everything we've covered is actionable. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or for everything to fall into place. You can start right now. One belief, one decision, one action at a time. Now, let's take this even further. Imagine this. 6 months from now, what does your life look like? What does your business look like if you fully commit to applying what you've learned today? What kind of leader have you become? What kind of energy do you bring to your work? What results have you created, not just in the business, but in every area of your life? Feels powerful, doesn't it? And that future is within reach. It starts with small, intentional steps, the kind you now know how to take. But before you go, I have one request. Don't let this be just another video you watch. Make it a turning point. Choose one idea, just one, and commit to applying it today. So maybe that's mapping out your next quarter with the confidence compass, or finally making that decision that you've been avoiding using the clear process. Whatever it is, act on it. And if you want to accelerate your progress, you don't have to do it alone. Having a coach doesn't just keep you accountable. It helps you uncover blind spots, push through limitations, and see possibilities that you might not even realize exist. So if you're serious about taking things to the next level, I invite you to apply for a discovery call with me. And if I believe that I can genuinely help you and we'd enjoy working together, I'll invite you to experience one-to-one coaching, where we'll unlock deeper insights and create shifts that can transform your business and your life. So if this video has added value to you, please let me know in the comments. Let me know, what was your biggest takeaway? What's one thing you're going to apply right away? And if you'd like a part 2 on this or any other related topic, drop your thoughts below. And before you go, do me a quick favor, share this video with someone who you feel might benefit. Save it so you can revisit it whenever you need clarity or confidence. And if you want to make my day and help the YouTube algorithm suggest this video to more people like you, smash that like button. It's a really quick action that makes a huge difference. So thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to hear about the incredible things you'll achieve. See you in the next one.